Coming up next, a special technology and innovation edition of Arizona Horizon. We'll update long-range efforts to make Arizona's bioscience sector more globally competitive. We'll learn about a recent event that took a speed dating approach to raising venture capital. And we'll hear about a new degree program at ASU that's designed to help transform the state's manufacturing industry. Those stories next on this special edition of Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the special technology and innovation edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The state recently marked the 10th anniversary of the Arizona Bioscience Roadmap. It's a long-range plan to make Arizona's bioscience sector more globally competitive. I talked about the roadmap with Marty Schultz, chairman of the Arizona Bioscience Roadmap Steering Committee, and Brad Halverson of the Flynn Foundation, which launched the roadmap back in December of 2002. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ted.
Let's define terms here. Bioscience roadmap. What exactly are we talking about?
What we're talking about is, first of all, we're talking about bioscience. And bioscience can be defined as health, science for health and research. It can be defined as bioagriculture, the scientific and the technical aspects of agriculture. And what this is an encouragement over the last 10 years, an investment over the last 10 years, and some serious money to grow an industry that will help improve the health of Arizona, personal and, of course, the world, and also grow the economy, very specifically grow the economy.
When it was first developed back in 2002, what were the original goals? Have those goals changed over the years?
Well, the bottom line goals, two of them, one is to improve the economy. One is to diversify our economy and help us get away from the economic cycles of downturns by adding high-wage jobs. Another one is healthcare. We wanted to bring to Arizona first access to the latest healthcare innovations.
And as far as the original intent in the first development, this was after a study was conducted and recommendations were offered, something along those lines?
Yes, the Arizona Biosciences Roadmap was a study that the Flynn Foundation commissioned, and it was done by Battelle, which is the world's largest nonprofit research and development organization. So what they did was they took stock of what Arizona had in its biosciences sector, did a SWOT analysis, and came back with a comprehensive plan full of recommendations about what Arizona can do to become a competitive region in the biosciences.
Marty, it sounds like the report suggested that the essential elements were there. Everything just needed, what, a push?
Well, it needed more than a push. It needed to have an investment. So there was investments from Proposition 301, which was sent to the voters, from the private sector, from the Arizona legislature in a number of different areas. For example, when the government funds the roads, it actually facilitates stimulating the economy. So the government helped fund research labs. It helped fund TGen. It helped fund some of the university activities. But what this did is spawn a lot of private sector research and a lot of private companies, which we enjoy today. Those private companies, of course, employ thousands and thousands of people. And as Brad said, we wanted an economic focus that would be stable over a period of time. So while nothing's recession-proof, we've been able to grow jobs in the bioscience in the sectors that are the biosciences at a greater level than other sectors, number one. And number two, when we had the downturn in the economy in the last 5 years, the growth in the bioscience has actually been up about 6%.
Interesting. One last history question here. Back when these policy issues were pushed and government leaders went for them, how receptive initially were they? Was there a lot of, I don't know, how difficult was it getting these ideas across?
It actually was a challenge because it was a new thing. On the other hand, there were a lot of early adopters. Governor Jane Hull was an early adopter going back that 10-year period. The leaders of the legislature, local government officials, in fact, thinking of current Mayor Greg Stanton, he was an early adopter when he was on the city council in Phoenix. So, and by the way, that's the Phoenix story. You've got stories in Flagstaff with a major investor, Gore Manufacturers. You've got stories down in Tucson and southern Arizona with Ventana Medical Systems. You've got major universities that have created biodesign centers. we are really on the field, and we're playing in an international game.
And Marty's kind of led us to this idea of improvements. How are we doing as far as science, as far as business, as far as policy, as far as collaboration between different organizations?
Doing well. The first 5 years of the roadmap was focused mostly on building the research infrastructure and helping us to become more competitive for national grants from the National Institutes of Health, and other activities along those lines. And then as the roadmap continues, the focus is turning more towards commercialization and turning this research into new products, into new firms, into high-wage jobs for Arizonans.
It's interesting in the sense that Arizona kind of got this going. We're a young state, and everything we try is relatively new, and we're kind of the new kid on the block, if you will. How do you work that into bioscience and technology? It's got to be a moving target, because there are other areas, whether it's the Bay Area or back in the Northeast or San Diego even, that were up and running when we started walking.
That's absolutely right. And what the Bioscience Roadmap tries not to do is to replicate what San Diego is, what the Bay Area is, what Boston is. They've been at it a lot longer, and they have a concentration of research institutes and companies long before we really got in the game. So what we're trying to do is pick what the roadmap focused on is picking our niches where we already excel on a national and international level and really leveraging those niches. So that would be cancer, neurosciences, personalized medicine. Those areas are areas where we already excel. We're really trying to focus on those niches and help that drive Arizona forward.
Is that how you see it as well, the idea that there were these established areas, because we weren't established, we could kind of go and do what we wanted to do?
Well, I think, first of all, we recognize it was a very competitive environment. We are talking about these other centers around the country and also around the world. So what we did, when we say the Roadmap Steering Committee, what we're really talking about is 100 individuals who might be university presidents, rock star researchers, business folks, you name it, and we put them all together, and then we said, okay, based on the data from Battelle, let's look at this roadmap ahead of us and see what we need to do to improve investment, public investment, private investment, venture capital. What do we need to do in research labs and that kind of thing. So yeah, we actually created our own fortune, and now we are competitive now. Are we as big as the San Franciscos, the San Diegos, and the Bostons? No. Are we competitive? Well, Dr. Michael Crow, in our 10th anniversary celebration, made a comment that his analysis was that we were on the field. Well, that's actually pretty good, because we were nowhere 10 years ago, and now being on the field of play on an international competitive area that improves the health status of not only Arizona, but also of the nation because of the areas that Brad talked about and others. I'd like to point out Alzheimer's, because of the number of individuals who are at the senior level. The work that Banner Alzheimer's Center is doing, for example, this is actually international level research to end Alzheimer's in a generation. We have so much to be thankful for, and so much talent. That this talent's focused on the criteria that was established 10 years ago, and everybody involved is making a difference.
Is Battelle still involved? Are they assessing the progress? Is anyone assessing the progress?
Absolutely. Yes, since the very beginning, we put in a requirement, really, that every year the progress of the Bioscience Roadmap would be measured. And the Flynn Foundation reports that progress back to the community on an annual basis. So we want to bring numbers and metrics to this to see how we're doing.
And how are we? I mean, Marty kind of alluded to this, but again, how are we doing not only nationally, but on a global scale?
Well, we're doing very well. And in terms of job creation, firm creation, Arizona is now one of the fastest growing bioscience states in the nation. New bioscience jobs here in the biosciences are growing about 4 times faster than they are across the rest of the nation. Bioscience firms are also outpacing the rest of the nation in terms of growth. So we've added about 235 firms since the roadmap began back in 2002, and thousands of jobs in the biosciences as well. More than 30,000 jobs.
Okay, jobs and businesses and startups and these sorts of things. Are those the metrics that you look at? I mean, how do you know? What do you measure?
Oh, actually, we are actually measuring the number of jobs, the number of firms, the investment, about $30 billion a year, worth of investment. That means investment in the ground, infrastructure, and salaries and that kind of thing. But I also like to look at the other side, the early stage. What's the early stage of developing these jobs and these research capabilities is what we have called in education, STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math. Those kinds of skill sets coming out of our elementary schools, ultimately high schools, community colleges, and through the universities give individuals, like my kids, grandkids, the capability of going into these relatively high-paying jobs, because the average salary starting is in the neighborhood of $45,000 to $55,000, significant dollars, plus the opportunity to grow and then to do good things to deal with these diseases of that have been mentioned, plus others, and make a real difference.
So we're 10 years down the road here. What are the challenges? What do we see in the next 10 years?
Well, capital is always a challenge. There's always a need for more money, resources, public and private, and that's an ongoing battle that Arizona has, San Francisco, San Diego, Boston, they have that too. The venture capital is hard to come by these days after the recession. That's true in Arizona, it's true nationally. And I think in Arizona what we're really focusing on from here is continuing to build the critical mass of bioscience firms. We've come a long way since 2002. We want to keep that momentum going and keep attracting top talent from other states and keep creating these high-wage jobs that Marty was talking about.
Well, you know, we hear about venture capital all the time here in Arizona. Why is it so tough? I know it's tough all around, but it seems like in Arizona we have an especially hard time. Is that an accurate figure there? Or?
That is an accurate figure. Actually, we were doing a lot better in the last several years, but as the downturn occurred, venture capitalists, individuals that focus in this area, decided to pull back and be a little more selective. So we actually have a squad of our group of the Bioscience Roadmap Committee that is working on developing new venture capitalists and a new focus and, frankly, a new cache, if you will, cachet of cash for venture. One thing about investments of this kind, they are somewhat risky in the early stages because you have an idea to help cure a kind of cancer, to help eliminate or at least stage Alzheimer's. These kinds of investments do cost money. Then in the later stages, as they become proven and closer to clinical trials, where you can see the payoff in health and in profit, people will jump in. So we need to be very strategic, and we have been and continue to be.
Very good. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ted.
Next, we hear about a Venture Catalyst Startup Rapid Pitch program that was recently held as part of Tempe's Geek Week. We heard about the event from Gordon McConnell, Assistant Vice President for Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Venture Acceleration at ASU SkySong. ASU Venture Catalyst, what are we talking about here?
We're the startup unit of the university, so that's why you keep bringing me back to talk about startups. So
That's right.
I live startups, so every day my schedule goes away very quickly because startups come in and ask for help. So we work with about 40 at any given time.
And talk about this startup pitch. How does that work?
So it was the early part of Geeks Night Out, which was a big geeky event as part of the Sci-Tech Festival, part of Geeks Week, which was supported by the mayor. We did the afternoon session. So we were looking at bringing in very early stage. I mean, these were ideas that were either just starting or were less than 6 months old. So we're talking about baby companies here. And it was often their first time they ever pitched in front of an audience. We had some support from Terra Lever. It was in their offices just across the street from City Hall. They offered some marketing support for the winners. We had Hull Law Group and Curzon Brady also offering legal packages, because obviously that's important for early stage companies. So these companies went up, and we had 6 of them. They pitched in front of a panel, including the sponsors. We had an independent panel, and it was very interesting to see companies, scary moment, standing up in front of an audience, pitching your idea.
And they only had about 5 minutes, right?
They had 5 minutes plus 5 minutes of questions, so it was very fast.
And 6 presenters, how'd you winnow it down to 6? 6? I mean, was there criteria here? Who decides?
Yeah, we kind of looked at who was applying and made sure that we had a good quality, because obviously you don't want, a lot of people have ideas, but you wanted something that at least was in the process of starting, and all these companies were in the process of starting in some shape or form.
So when you finally get to the 6 finalists, they have 5 minutes follow-up questions. Yeah. Again, what is the criteria there?
We were looking at how they pitched on the day, the sustainability of their idea, how far they had advanced it in the time that they had begun. So the judges were given a set of about 8 sets of criteria, and they went off into a room, and we waited patiently for an hour for them to come out, and they came out with an answer. There was white smoke.
Oh, great. And the winner was?
Lateliving.com.
Lateliving.com.
Yeah, very interesting. Anybody who's interested in senior care or assisted living, we have a baby boomer generation which are retiring. This basically allows you to go on for free, which is interesting, onto lateliving.com. They have 50 sites so far that are there, and they give you complete in-depth video tours of all these senior care facilities. They allow you to take notes. They allow you to share this with other family members who are maybe in other parts of the US, because obviously this is a family decision a lot of the time. They have up-to-date information on these care facilities, so you're not going to go and spend an hour traveling to one and then find they have no rooms, because it'll actually tell you if there's availability of rooms or apartment. So you can sit down with your parent and actually do it from your living room. It saves you a huge amount of time. It's free. And for the facilities themselves, and if there's any out there, they're interested in talking to you, because usually it's done through an intermediary. Okay, so this is about taking out the intermediary. Yes. Intermediaries can charge up to a month's rent, okay, to actually do these deals. And they have your information. Living doesn't share this information with anybody unless you want to talk specifically to a care centre that you've looked at. So it's quite radical. I mean, when you think about it, we find love on the internet. We find, we rent houses, apartments.
Indeed.
Why not do this for such an important thing and allow the family to be involved? It's a great idea. They set it up in November. They've got 50 facilities. They've got customers. They're in revenue, and we're in February. Yeah. So kind of help them win, I think.
Yeah, a clumsy analogy would be like cars.com. You basically figure out what you want.
Yeah, or a lot of the apartments, if you want to go and rent an apartment, you often get tours. But these tours are really significant. I mean, you feel like you're there.
Now, did Late Living win because of the particular idea, the machinations involved, how strong and viable they were?
I wasn't in the room where the judges happened to be there, but I believe it was a mixture of all. The founder, Chris Wilson, presented. He was fantastic. I have to admit, he's one of ours. He's they're an Edson student startup, so I wasn't in the room when the judging happened, so I'm clean. But obviously we trained him well in ASU, so he was really good, and he's a graduate. The other co-founder is a current MBA student. We liked them, and as I said, to be out there that fast. In fairness, all 6 were impressive for the level of which they're at, in terms of, most of these are only a few months old.
Have all 6 got some startup going here? Have they started operations?
Most of them are in the process of starting operations. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Geek Week. Yes. I mean, there was a lot of promotion for this. There was a science fiction thriller promotion. I think we're going to see here in a second. Yeah. What was Geek Week?
I guess it's a celebration. It's a fun event. It's part of Geeks Week. The Walton Sustainability Solutions Initiative are the sponsors of Geeks Night, and we were the sponsors of Geek Week. It's a celebration of I guess, STEM subjects. So we obviously, 20% of the jobs in Tempe are tech related. And we obviously want to build the next generation of these kids, and to show kids that technology is interesting and fun, can lead to a career. There were a lot of people there. I was the Lord of Geek Week, which I'm very happy to be.
Wow.
Unfortunately, honorary title. I don't get any land or estates or anything connected to that. Well. But I launched Comic-Con, which a lot of my friends back at home were jealous of, in costume. So I played ball as well. There were a lot of vampires, a significant amount of zombies, to the point where I'd be nervous. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people were involved, a lot of people dressed up. But there was a serious side, because obviously you want to encourage these kids to show that sciences and technology are not subjects that are boring. They're actually quite interesting. They lead to real things. I mean, there was an electron microscope from Rio Salado College and ASU NanoFab. ASU's College of Technology and Innovation were there, showing what it's like to train to be a pilot. University of Technology were there with robots. It was
Yes.
a lot of, so it was a lot. It was real fun. It was a family kind of oriented event. They think they had about 4,000 people in the evening.
Wow.
A lot of stuff to see. A lot of fun.
So this is something that will stick for a while here?
Yeah, this is the second year. We had 20 schools. I have to say the mayor and the council folk and the city were fantastic that they come up with this. It is important, but it is fun at the same time.
Well, congratulations on what sounded like a good start. That late living thing sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah,
No
it's
wonder
really,
they
really
won.
good. Yeah, and good timing. I say, baby boomers. It's it's
no
a
kidding.
sign of the times. I
And
think.
whatever it was you were during Geek Week, congratulations.
Thank you,
as
sir.
well. All right.
I was wearing a
Thank you.
hat, so-
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Ted.
We wrap things up with a look at a new degree program offered next fall at ASU. It's a Bachelor of Science in Manufacturing Engineering, and it's based at ASU's College of Technology and Innovation. For more, we hear from Ann McKenna, an Associate Professor of Engineering at the college. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
What is the focus of this particular degree?
So if we think of manufacturing broadly, it is an integrated system. And so that means if you're focusing on product development, you're focusing on the design of that product, how that product gets manufactured and produced, how the product gets distributed, the supply chain, the marketing of the product, and the selling of the product. It's very focused on the customer and the customer needs and developing it from the engineering perspective as well.
And how would that differ then from an engineering degree, a standard engineering degree?
So the focus of manufacturing is on that integrated system where you're focusing on what does the customer need and designing the product around what that need is, and then focusing on all aspects of the design and manufacturing of that product. And so there's a much more emphasis on how you get materials and take those materials and the processes to make that product.
Sounds like creativity is at the forefront here.
Creativity is absolutely part of what we emphasize. In fact, if we think of the competitive advantage of the United States in general, it is around the design, invention, creativity, adaptability, and so training our engineering students to be comfortable in that.
Is this something that students had learned piecemeal, a little bit here and a little bit there, and now it's all coalesced into one degree?
That is an excellent way of describing it, and that is always maintaining that system focus. So whatever you are designing, you have to understand how it moves through the system and thinking of that as a whole.
So what will students have, like real-world projects to work on each semester? How's it going to work?
Absolutely. And so one of the things that's happening nationwide is much more emphasis and a renewed focus on making things. And that's evidenced by the do-it-yourself communities, the maker communities, incubators, tech shops, where you have fabrication facilities available so that you can take any idea and bring it to bring it to realization. And so we embed that emphasis on applying your learning to make meaningful contributions to real problems that exist in the world. And so we have a curriculum that is project-based where students work on projects every semester starting from freshman year. So it's the idea of taking that knowledge, that the engineering principles, the design principles, and applying it to a project.
And are these projects, are you working with business and industry on these projects? Are they giving suggestions? Are they actually giving assignments? How's that work?
So yes, we engage industry at the Polytechnic campus. It is one of our core values, engagement with industry. It's a core value of our department, and we engage, I will say community, broadly speaking, including industry, throughout our curriculum. In particular, at senior year, it's a culminating experience where students work on a 2-semester industry-sponsored project where we have engagement with industry. They come to us with a particular project and problem in mind, and we have student teams working closely with industry and understanding what those needs are and developing solutions to that need.
From a distance, I would question, can the school keep up with, let's say I've Ted's Electronics out here and I want to build a spaceship or something. How close can the school stay abreast of cutting edge technology that's out there in the real world but may or may not be there on campus? How does that dynamic fit in?
So we have state-of-the-art facilities at the Polytechnic campus, and so we have a wonderful set of fabrication abilities that we leverage to support the curriculum. And we are also staying ahead of that cutting-edge technology. We are partnering with the tech shop, and so we have a lot of new prototyping equipment that we are building into our facility.
Who's the tech shop?
Tech Shop is an entity. It originated in California, and so it's a organization that has basic prototyping facilities, and they engage with anyone who is interested in building something. And so it's a model to enable the general public to bring an idea to reality.
Kind of a prototype model sort of factory
yes,
then.
Yes,
How interesting.
Yes.
The idea behind the degree, I noticed when I was reading about this, it was to help transform the manufacturing industry in Arizona. How much does it need to be transformed? How far along in the transformation are we?
Well, I would say maybe not so much transformation as I think about, to paraphrase President Obama in one of his State of the Union addresses last year, that if we want to build a blueprint for the American economy that's built to last, it has to be built on manufacturing. And so it is important to the American economy to think about what 21st century manufacturing means and to educate our students to be productive in that field. And so it's a way of making a meaningful curriculum experience for our students such that they can contribute to that, to the economy.
And not only the Arizona economy, but the United States. We're talking aerospace, high tech, the whole 9 yards here.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, it sounds fascinating, and it sounds like you guys got a lot of work ahead of you there.
Oh, but it's exciting.
It
yes.
sure sounds like it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of Arizona Horizon. You have a great evening.
If you have comments about Arizona Horizon, please contact us at one of the addresses on your screen. Your comments may be used on a future edition of Arizona Horizon. Thank you. Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Support for Arizona technology and innovation on Horizon comes from Intel, helping to transform the lives of millions through education, working with countries, communities, and schools worldwide to bring the resources and solutions needed for advancing education. For information, Intel.com.